Yo internet, welcome back. And today we're gonna be doing some more F-150 things. Surprise, surprise. But more importantly, what we're gonna do, that's a text message, is try and get the cruise control working of sorts without having to change the tune. And what I mean by changing the tune, let me explain. So you see I got a newer 12th gen steering wheel donated by my good friend Jazz, who you've seen on the channel before. He's been doing some upgrades to his 14 STX and changed the cluster and gave me his wheel to try out the cruise button. And let me explain about the tune thing and why this might be our ticket to get it working with the current tune that we have. All right, so we're using a Mustang tune. No mystery to anyone, that's how we got the gauges to work. Now, the important thing is we have select shift. The more important thing is the cruise won't work because 13 and 14 Mustangs change their cruise buttons to a different resistance value. And I know the cruise will work in the first gen with the older buttons if you use an 11 to 12 strategy. But if we use 11 to 12 strategy, we lose select shift. So what I'm going to attempt to do is get the harness out of here and kind of makeshift it into our wheel, if not just hanging on the side, to see if we can get cruise to work this way. And it's actually the same physical size in the old wheel. Let me show you. So whether I can make something fancy to have that fit, but it looks generally the same size. And obviously there'll be some extra buttons here that won't apply, but we'll have all our cruise buttons. So if you don't know how to take these wheels off, simply bolt there. There's spring action here for the airbag. Jazz already had that apart, but more importantly, how to get this button assembly out. You literally just pry it out of there. You can see no one really showed me on the YouTube video I found on how this actually is in, so you just pry it in between the wheel and there with like a decent, panel popper tool to minimize damage. Obviously I don't care too much about this wheel. I was thinking about throwing it in my Super Duty, but the buttons won't match because this doesn't have any of the cluster buttons and whatnot. So yeah, let's get the harness out and then I'll take the old wheel apart and see if I can I just need to use 2 wires to see if this works. I don't care about this thing lighting up or anything like that. All right, so had some fun with the steering wheel, got the airbag out, super simple. There's 2 bolts behind here, 8 mils, pops right out. I have this switch, actually, I do still have it out, just have it connected right now. There's just 2 nuts back here, and funny thing is, with the 14 switch, dude, it just about sits in there. There's little posts where that pressed into the 14 wheel. They don't line up. Bolt pattern's not the same, but this little slot or steering wheel cover like just about fits into there. I feel like I could definitely make this switch work physically. Just have to drill maybe a couple holes, get some screws in there or some sort. I think I could make that work. Most importantly though is I've been having some fun with the multimeter and testing some resistance values. So to try and find these values of what the computer's expecting is a little ambiguous, because on the OEM wiring diagrams on the 13 Mustang, it shows all the buttons except a cancel. It shows resume but not cancel resume, and the values are different for that. Everything else for set, minus, on and off, don't worry about these, match up what the wire diagrams say on the 13 Mustang. So as of right now, I get a code saying that there's like too much, the resistance in the cruise wire is too high or low. I can't remember. That's because when these are not being pushed, there's actually resistors in there always feeding back to tell that nothing's being pushed. Same thing with these buttons. And the values when nothing is pushed matches to what the schematic says for the 13 Mustang ECU to expect for on and off, set plus, set minus, accept, cancel, resume, which it doesn't show cancel, resume, it just shows resume. I feel like it just carried over from other diagrams. Sometimes manufacturers are lazy in that. So what I'm going to do is the pins in these are the same. They're like a 0.64 male and female pin. Strip this down, get at least just the illumination wires and the cruise wires, and patch them into this connector so that I can have a nice clean install, put everything back together, and just see if it works. Even don't have to put everything back together like the bag, but and just see if it works. So D-pin, repin, hopefully I get some lights, this to light up, and hopefully I get cruise to work. I get this thing to work, that means you can get this whole setup without even having to get a like hybrid tune like I eventually plan on getting, where, like I said, 11-12 strategy so that the cruise works without doing this with the original buttons. And then the hybrid part is having select shift, so but it has to be a Mustang tune. Mustangs didn't have select shift in 11 and 12. So let's see if this can work. Well, first test failed because forgot to plug it in. Well, it still failed, so I'm gonna try and switch the wires around because the wire diagrams don't tell me which wires are what on the 14 F150, so try that. See what happens. Well, that was still a bust, so I'm just going to verify that I have continuity from these two wires to the PCM, and before I completely write the later model F150 switch and have to get a hybrid tune, which is a bummer because I got a long road trip I want to take this thing on next week, and it'd be nice to have a cruise. I suppose I could try a Mustang cruise switch. It just doesn't, it's probably not going to fit well in the steering wheel like the F-150 one, so maybe I'll do that next with the short time I have. Just leaving the house. It's a little after 6 in the morning because we're heading to Long Beach, California for the first round of Formula Drift. So I didn't get the cruise working, and the 13 to 14 Mustang cruise switch that I was going to do a makeshift just for this trip didn't come in time. It's like coming today in the mail and not in time. So, start things off. We're at a little under half a tank. I got well over 250 miles on this tank and a little more than that on the swap itself. So, I think the first thing we're going to do is see what kind of fuel mileage I've been getting commuting to work. It's about a 27-mile one way. The shop, I should say. I don't have a day job. But yeah, we'll check it out. Yeah, there's someone else doing vlogging things. Hopefully we'll see him. But I want to see what this thing's getting for fuel mileage. This thing has a really large tank, and it was over 100 miles before the needle even moved off of full. So yeah, we'll go to the fuel station, do some manual calculations, see what we're getting for fuel mileage, and then take some B-roll clips on the way there. First stop, I always go to the border, California and Arizona. This gas that's where it's gonna be the cheapest, and hopefully this thing will just be able to get to my destination, Long Beach, and back to the border after that fill up. So we'll see you at the gas station here soon. Just inside of Buckeye, west of Phoenix, probably like a 35 mile trip from the house. Let's fill this baby up. 16.325 gallons. So let's do some math. So let's see here. Oh, almost 300 miles on that tank, which obviously wasn't empty. So 299.5 divided by 16.325. Survey says 18.34 miles a gallon. Not too bad. This baby up to 4 scan, and just keep an eye on things because I don't have a regular doohickey. SET. Forgot to bring my cable and the device, so we're just gonna monitor here on their laptop for a little while and see how things go. Just want to watch trans temp and stuff that I can't see on the stock gauges, which don't tell me much more than I already don't know. Let's keep heading west. Not gonna floor it, but maybe almost half throttle. We're just cruising right along. Trans temp's 176, holding there. got up to 206. A little higher than I'd like to see, but like I said earlier, I noticed when I slow down, it goes cooler, so it must. I'm thinking it might not have just enough fluid in it, but it definitely has a cooling trend. I can maintain like 76 miles an hour. I've never seen it higher than 206. At 204 right now, kind of going downhill, and in a headwind a little bit, but all the other vitals look good. So I think we'll see at the border, and we'll do a little more recap there, some things I think and whatnot. I also don't even really need fuel, but we're going to do some fill-ups for science reasons. All right, we made it to the border, and just coming off the highway, like, thing cooled right off. So I'm guessing it's probably a fluid issue, so I'm glad I made it here. Let's fill up and do some math. So while this thing is filling up, it's not gonna take long. Having no cruise sucks. I have a size 14 shoe now. Usually drive with my big toe, take the shoe off. Truck rides great, like this is super comfy. Like, why wouldn't you want an F-150? Yeah. Trans fluid temp was a little bit of a scare, but how fast it came down gave me a little more comfort. Once we get, oh, fuel pump click. Once we get into California, the speed limits are lower, and I'm not a big speeder guy, so probably just go 5 over 70. It should be well within. I was looking at the operating temperatures of the 6R80. It goes from, you know, the internet machine says, you know, 180 to 200, but then like the high end is 234. Like, you don't want to go higher than that. So we never got over 206. So I think it was like a load thing, because I had a headwind. The fluid thing, when I go down hills, it would cool off immediately. And we're talking about a few degrees here, but I like to kind of use my Super Duty as a basis. Like when that thing's unloaded, I look at the trans temp and it never goes over 200 hardly, maybe 203 in the summer. Towing, it was way higher, but I kind of had to treat this thing like as if I was towing, which is kind of annoying, but we're doing it. So yeah, it's like a really brisk 58 here. I'm kind of shaking. I think some of my Wisconsin blood would, I think it's all gone. So let's keep on doing it, and let's see what this thing got for mileage from basically Phoenix, did over 100 miles, and all highway. So last fill up was about 80% highway at we'll call it 18.5. Let's see what this does. All right, so we did 124 miles. Call it 125 as a 0.9 divided by 6.7 gallons. About the same mileage. Not too bad for a full size. This is about a 4,000 pound truck, cruising at about 77 miles an hour. So yeah, I'm gonna drain the sea monster and maybe get some snacks, keep on cruising. I regret, well, I couldn't regret, but got no heat in here and a little chilly. Now it started to rain. No idea how good my wipers are, so that'll be nice, but I'm gonna take the time to pick up my friend in Wisconsin, from Wisconsin at LAX to work FD, but I'm gonna catch up on some business things here, especially a cool thing for the channel and the next build. I got to square away here, so that's sweet. So once I get that going, we're gonna continue on our road trip. We're still cruising deep into California now. We are 150 miles into the state. Still monitoring temps as long as my laptop battery lasts. Big hill through the, it's after Coachella, I don't know where all the windmills are on I-10 there. Big climb, big headwind. So I just tickled 207 on the trans temp, and then, so it sucks, kind of like drive this thing like I'm towing, but it's all good. Could be worse. So, engine just solid 196, 198 the whole way. So we're cruising. Still got a couple hours to get to LAX, unless Eric decides to take an Uber, because I realize it's pretty far out of my way to get to the Long Beach hotel that FD puts me up in. But we're still cruising. F-150 things, Coyote baby. Oh, the shores of California. Yeah, about 70 miles from the hotel. Decided to let Eric take a Uber because he landed not too long ago and LAX is kind of out of the way out of Long Beach. So we'll see him there. And I'll probably talk to you when I get to the hotel, get unloaded, and get the truck parked, hopefully in their parking structure at the hotel. So, look, I don't know if you can see the trans temp, but it dropped a whole lot just rolling to this traffic. Like, it's crazy how much it drops. So the cooler is definitely working. I just wonder if it's just a touch underfilled. So, all good. We'll make it back home too. But for now, let's get to the hotel. We'll talk a little bit more about it there. All right, internet, we made it to Long Beach. Few things here before Eric meets me down here. He, Alex Flores made a point of how like transmissions learn or the PCMs learn driving habits, and I think I felt that because I was kind of pussyfooting this thing around before really vetting it. Like I was just using light throttle, blah blah blah, and then once I actually drove it normal, you could tell like the performance changed, and every time I would unhook the battery, that would kind of reset. So it's definitely truth in what he says about that. And then two, on the way here, I was messaging Christian Papa from Power by the Hour, and he asked me, hey, do you still have the original 4R transmission cooler on this truck? I was like, yeah, it fit perfect. I just needed some barb fittings, like you've probably seen in some of my videos. He's like, yeah, that cooler internally has a size line smaller than what the 6R coolers have, even though they look bigger physically. It doesn't cool as well, and the 4Rs don't flow as much coolant through the coolant line. So we'll have to address that. So like I said, just had to drive it like I was towing. Didn't get above 207. It tickled it. Like it was going between 206 and 7. That was on like headwind, full headwind, charging up a hill at 70. So no real damage, I don't feel. So it did well. We made it here. No cruise. I hate that. Foot hurts. So about 6 hours drive. So we made it. This is cool. I'll take a little walk around video once we get in the parking garage here. So, yeah. Oh, look who it is. Eric. You shall not pass. Oh, you think you work for FD or something?
No, I don't.
Well, besides the rain, she looks as good as she when she left. Welcome to Long Beach, internet. So. Yeah, thanks for watching. It's a little out of the ordinary. Eric says hi. You should check out his channel, Everything Eric. And he does a lot cooler variety of things than I do. Mine's mostly stuck in Ford land. So hit that thumbs up and please consider subscribing. We'll see you next time. And next time we've got some big news coming up because what happened today. So stay tuned.